Hey guys, I'm Oscar Mikey, and today I have the first video in a series of videos I'm going to be doing for you that are going to be kind of guides for Battlefield 2042. I'm going to cover the maps, the weapons, the specialists, and I'm just going to try and give you guys a good idea about the game and like strategies and how to play it and what the best loadouts are and that kind of thing, just to get you prepared to play the game. I don't have a name for this series. I'm not going to be calling it anything special. It's just going to be some guide videos. So today with the first video, we're going to be talking about one of the maps, and that map is going to be Renewal. The reason I picked this map is because I've been getting a lot of playtime on it actually, and not so much time on other maps, particularly Hourglass. But anyway, let's just go over Renewal, and I'll guide you guys through the map and tell you all about it. So the way I'd like to start walking you guys through this map is just to start on the right-hand side or the Russian side of the map. This is the really green side with the greenhouses and the farmlands, and it's like a big ecological kind of operation going on here. I'm not really sure what's going on. I don't want to bore you guys with like the backstory. These videos are going to be mostly just about gameplay and how you should go about playing these maps. Anyway, I think this side is a lot more visually interesting than the desolate, kind of dusty, deserty side on the west, on the US side. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of open space in the form of like crops and fields and that kind of thing. But then there's a couple of special like science buildings or laboratories where D1 and D2 are. You go inside these buildings and they're mostly clear on the inside. There's not a lot of furniture and stuff, but there's some offices and there's like a big grow op in one of them. I don't know what they're growing in here. It looks pretty cool though. You can go inside these offices, inside this grow op, and you can get on top of the roofs pretty easily and scope out the area from up there. There are lots of really tall glass windows, so if D1 and D2 are under enemy control and you're attacking it, make sure you keep an eye on those windows because there's lots of opportunities for snipers to get you from those. Now directly to the south is E1. Unlike D2, this is just a solo flag. D1, D2 is a capture cluster, 2 flags, but E1 is all by itself. But it sits in a much larger area than D1 and D2. E1 sits in the middle of a giant kind of refining facility or processing plant of some kind. If you look, you can see these giant vats full of green liquid. It looks like they're pureeing the plants that they're growing there or something. I don't really know. It's kind of weird. But E1 is in the middle of a warehousing facility. So there's lots of pallet racking inside, lots of cover, lots of lanes for forklifts to go up and down, so it's kind of like a maze. I've been caught out by people quite a bit inside this warehouse. The characters tend to kind of blend in with the boxes and the pallets and stuff, depending on what skins they're using. And not only can people blow open the walls with rocket launchers to get in, but there are lots of doors that they can just hop in through. So if you're sitting on E1, make sure your squad is watching those doors and listening for footsteps because there's lots of points of ingress into this building. And of course you can get up on top of the roof if you want to. I'm pretty sure there are skylights up there that you can shoot down through as well. Now moving to the middle of the map, C1 is all by itself. It's sitting at a large gate like a pass-through gate or a checkpoint or something between the two halves of the map. There's a lot of metal walkways and small buildings to hide behind in this area, and the tunnel is not very big. There's not a whole lot of space in the center. It looks like there's an office inside C1, but it's not really much. It's just a long hallway that you can get up into and you can look out of onto the US side. Not a very interesting point to fight over in my opinion, but if both teams focus engagement here, if they meet each other here, it can be quite a choke point. You can get on top of the roof and walk along the giant wall, and it's a pretty decent place for spotters and snipers to hang out on. Now on the US side, like I said before, it's not as visually interesting as the Russian side with all the greenery and the processing plant and all that kind of stuff. The US side is kind of a desolate, kind of dusky desert wasteland type area. The most interesting thing on this side is B1, which is a huge solar energy generating plant. There are hundreds of solar panels surrounding a kind of collection tower. I'm actually not 100% sure what this tower does, but it glows with a bright light and it can be kind of distracting. It throws me off sometimes. It makes me think there's a sniper looking at me pretty much all the time. There are some zip lines you can use to get up to a platform that ends kind of 2/3 of the way up the tower, and this is a great spot for snipers and spotters and that kind of stuff. I find a lot of the fighting goes on immediately below the tower right on B1. Sometimes some lighter engagements happen around it in the hills, but not very often. There is a couple of buildings and warehouses that people can hide in B1, but most of the time you'll see enemies ripping through the desert on an LATV-4 or a hovercraft and just go right straight into B1. Kind of to the northeast of B1. This isn't a flag capture point, but it is an interesting area. It looks like a kind of power transforming area. There are a lot of like buzzing power boxes here, and I don't often see a lot of people fighting in this area, but it might be a good place for recon players to hang out, or maybe even place a spawn beacon down so your team can continue to spawn there and attack B1 and recapture it or defend it anytime the enemy comes to try and take it from you. Now moving north to the last pair of points, A1 and A2 is a double flag cluster capture point. There are two kind of small research facilities. There's nothing really special about these. There's a couple of buildings and a couple of storage containers, sea cans. There's a bit of a mountain next to A1 that if you scale to the top of it, you can get a good overwatch on C1. So that is something to think about if you're on the US side. You do have a bit of an advantage when it comes to sniping areas or sniper spots. The Russian side is definitely more flat. It's more of a high-tech kind of man-made and highly landscaped area that's mostly flat with some valleys and some ridges and some light areas of cover. But the US side is definitely more mountainous and more natural and has some shallow canyons and roads for you to take cover behind and lots of rocky outcroppings and stuff to keep you safe. So a strategy I see a lot of people doing on this map is backcapping either B1 or E1. I see a lot of players grabbing some kind of vehicle, whether it's an LATV4 or that light tank, I forget what it's called, the Ripjaw or the Ripsaw or whatever it is, and then they just beeline straight to one flag or the other, depending on which one they're coming from. And there's actually another vehicle door to the south of C1 that you can get through pretty easily and make an easy backcap for your team. And you won't meet a lot of resistance because there's no capture points in that kind of middle south area. I don't usually find a lot of players down here. A1, A2, and C1 change hands a lot throughout the game. They're always being captured and recaptured. There's nothing really special about these points. D1 and D2 are a lot more difficult to hang on to and to attack. Once the enemy gets dug in that building, it can be pretty tough to smoke them all out and just kill them all and take those 2 points back. So maybe getting a Jisoo in there with her wall hack ability might help you and your squad to just track down the enemy players and just get them out of there. Alright, that's my overview of Renewal in Battlefield 2042 for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you got some insight into the map and maybe thought up a couple of new strategies for you to implement next time you play it. I think it is a really interesting map. I do enjoy playing it, and it's full of opportunities for cool fights, long-range engagements with snipers on the mountain and the solar collection tower, and some kind of stealthy sneaking through the reeds and the foliage and stuff on the Russian side. It can be kind of cool. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe. It really helps me out as a small content creator. Thank you so much. If you want to talk to me live and enjoy some Battlefield 2042 gameplay, I stream every Tuesday and Thursday on Twitch at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I always love chatting with you guys. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you in the next video.